Hello, and welcome to EMAN Effectively Making a Noise. Today's story is Ruth chooses to go with Naomi. Ruth chooses to go with Naomi, and it's coming from Ruth chapter 1 through chapter 1 verse 1, through chapter 2 verse 23. And this is one of my favorite stories. I hope you enjoy. The story of Ruth was written to show how this noble young woman from the heathen country of Moab became a worshiper of the God of Israel, and how she became an ancestress of David, from whose lineage Jesus was born. It is one of the most beautiful stories in the world. Ancestress means a woman who came before others in family line. Of trouble and sorrow, of loyalty and devotion, of poverty and toil, of love and romance, of honor and preferment, of divine wisdom and providence. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land of Israel. A certain man by the name of Elimelech, who lived in the Bethlehem, decided to take his wife Naomi and their two sons, Mahlon and Chilion, and go to the land of Moab to escape the famine. So they went into the country of Moab and lived there for about 10 years. But Elimelech died soon after they went to Moab, and Naomi was left with her two sons. These married Moabite women named Ophrah and Ruth. But Mahlon and Chilion died soon too. And Naomi was bereft with her husband and two sons. The sorrowful Naomi decided that it was best for her to return to Bethlehem, for she had heard that food was plentiful there again. So she started on the journey to return to the land of Judah, her two daughters-in-law going with her. But Naomi tried to persuade Ophrah and Ruth to go back to their parents' homes. So she told them they would thus have a better opportunity to marry again and have their own homes. Both Ophrah and Ruth wept greatly at the thought of parting from Naomi, whom they loved very much. Finally, Ophrah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye and went back to her parents' house. But Ruth clung tightly to Naomi and did not want to go back. Naomi said to Ruth, "Behold, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth made her memorable reply, "Entreat," which means to ask, "me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou diest, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me." When Naomi saw that Ruth was bent on going with her, she held her peace. So the two women journeyed on until they came to Bethlehem. The whole town was moved by their plot, for the people had heard of the great sorrows and misfortunes that had come to Naomi. The women of Bethlehem said to her, "Can this be Naomi?" She said to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara. For the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord has brought me home again empty." So Naomi was not yet comforted in her sorrows. Naomi and Ruth came to Bethlehem just at the beginning of the barley harvest. Now in Bethlehem there was a relative of Naomi's husband, a wealthy farmer by the name of Boaz. When Ruth volunteered to go and clean, which means pick up leftover crop after the harvest, in the barley fields, in order to get some food for Naomi and herself, Naomi gave her permission. And Ruth went and gleaned in a certain field after the reapers. Although she did not know it, she happened to glean in a field that belonged to Boaz, who was Elimelech's relative. And Boaz, the wealthy farmer of Bethlehem, came out to see how the harvest was progressing, which meant getting along. He greeted his reapers, saying, "The Lord be with you." And they answered him, "The Lord bless you." Then Boaz, noticing a strange young woman gleaning in his fields, said to his servant in charge of the reapers, "Whose damsel is this?" The servant answered, "It is the Moabite damsel who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. She said to me, 'I pray you, let me glean and gather among the sheaves after the reapers.' So she came, and she has continued evening from morning until now, without ever stopping to rest." Then Boaz spoke to Ruth for the first time, saying, "Now listen to me, my daughter. Do not go to glean in another field, or leave this one, but stay close to my maidens." Thus he spoke kindly to Ruth, offering to show her special favor. Then Ruth, bowing to the ground, said to Boaz, "Why have I found favor in your sight, that you should notice me, seeing that I am a stranger?" Boaz answered Ruth, "I have been told all about all that you have done on behalf of your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and the land of your birth and came to a people that you did not know before. Maybe the Lord recompense, which means repay, you for all your good works, and a full reward be given you by the Lord God of Israel. Under those wings you have come to take shelter." Ruth humbly replied, "Let me find favor in your sight, my lord, for you have comforted me by speaking so kindly to me, though I am not one of your handmaidens." Boaz also invited Ruth to eat with his reapers at mealtime, seeing that she had nothing of her own to eat. When she went forth to glean again, he privately instructed his reapers to pull out stalks of grain from their sheaves and leave them for Ruth to glean. So Ruth gleaned in the field all day until evening. When she beat out what she had gleaned, she had about an ephah, or more than 3 pecks of barley. She took it home and showed Naomi what she had gleaned. Naomi asked, "Where have you gleaned today?" Ruth told Naomi that she had gleaned in the field of Boaz, and how kindly Boaz had spoken to her. Then Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "Blessed be he of the Lord, who has not stopped being kind to the living or to the dead." Then Naomi explained to Ruth, "The man is a member of our family, one of our nearest relatives." And she advised Ruth to continue to glean in the fields of Boaz. So Ruth continued to glean with the maidens of Boaz until the end of the barley and wheat harvest. And Ruth lived with Naomi in Bethlehem, and they were happy to be together. That is the end of our story, but we do have some bonus snippets today, and it is called "I'm Going To," and this is from Stacy, age 13, and you can find this in Ruth 1:16 through 18. It says, in this passage, Ruth is explaining to Naomi that she loves her and will stick with her through thick and thin. Now that's a great friend. Not long ago, I heard a rumor about a friend of mine. People said she was talking about me behind my back. That really upset me and made me mad. I guess I believed the rumor about my friend without even stopping to think it might not be true. I should have remembered what a faithful friend she was. She had always stuck with me and been nice to me. There was no reason for me to doubt her friendship, except for this false rumor. A real friend is a friend forever, not just for a summer or until you get out of the class you have had together. A real friend is a loyal and faithful. God is that kind of friend. He never leaves us. Ruth understood this kind of faithfulness. I think that's why she wanted to do for Naomi what God had done for her. And it says, think about two of your closest friends. What do you like about them? What do you think they like about you? And this right here is coming from a teenager, Stacy, age 13. And I also have another one. It says, glean to the right, glean to the left. And this comes from Ruth, chapter 2, verse 6 through 7. Gleaning is the process of looking good for stuff left behind. This is what homeless people do when they look through a dumpster. They're hoping to find some food that's good enough to eat that someone left behind. For Ruth, gleaning meant walking behind the harvesters in a field. sorting through the remains of picked over stalks and grain plants and looking for little bits of good food or grain. It was hard work for very little return. That is the end of our story today. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Remember, this is one of my favorites. I hope y'all stay tuned. If you are on Spotify, give me a rating, a review, or a like. If you are on WordPress, excuse me, leave me a comment and let me know if you're liking these stories. And if you don't mind, just drop a donation into my Cash App, and that is $Cheryl Secrest. And it will help me out a whole lot to be able to bring you these stories and hopefully bless someone along the way. We thank you. We love you. We'll see you next time, and we give God all the glory and the praise. Peace.